Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the United States of a Movie Podcast. We're the movie podcast that makes every Monday a fun day as we get together and we talk movies. We've already done one trip around the states because currently we are trying to find one movie to define each state in the United States. And this week we are stopping off at the state of South Dakota. And I tell you what, guys, I'm just very, very interested to get into talking about these movies because this week we've just decided to be a real movie podcast again. And we've just brought fantastic movies.
We've gone against our better judgment and picked two actual movies to try and make up for whatever we did last week or 2 weeks ago. Who fucking knows? But like, I feel like these two movies were my penance for not being super into Avatar. Because one of these movies is just fucking Avatar, dude.
Well, you're not wrong. That when Avatar did come out, everyone was like, oh, it's Dancing with Space Blue Monkeys or something like that. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I get it. But nonetheless, this week we have got Oscar-winning movie and Oscar-winning movie with Oscar-winning directors, Oscar-winning actors, and there's a theme as well because South Dakota has, interesting history, especially regards to Native Americans. And seeing as our champion last time around was Michael Apted's Thunderheart, which had Val Kilmer, Graham Greene, shot by Roger Deakins, that we've got just three fantastic movies. South Dakota, you have some of the best movies ever made, and we're really going to get into it. Before we do, though, why don't we welcome my amazing co-host, as always, Ryan Sandler, sitting in Arizona. Welcome back, buddy.
It's great to be here where it's warm, because after watching The Revenant, the movie that just makes me feel ice fucking cold and miserable for 2.5 hours.
You are not. I was wearing a hoodie. I had slippers on. I even turned the heater on watching that damn movie. I was freezing
I had to crawl inside my own horse carcass just to feel alive.
Dude, I thought they smelled bad.
That had nothing to do with the movie.
Just a Tuesday.
Just a Tuesday, exactly.
Just being efficient, really.
And as always, sitting in the middle of his very own video store in Los Angeles, California, Will Hirsch. Welcome back to the show, Will.
Great to be here. My son may be dead. I might have been manhandled by a bear, but you know what? I'm still kicking.
Still kicking. And I can't wait to get into that part of the story as well. Honestly, we've already teased the two movies that we are bringing this week to go up against Thunderheart, like I said, last year's champion. Graham Greene returns with Kevin Costner in Dances with Wolves, a movie that is epically long, but one of us managed to find the version that's epically longer. Can't wait to get into that one. And also, on top of that, we brought The Revenant, the movie that finally got Leonardo DiCaprio his Oscar, 2015. Man, it's crazy. This is a 2015 movie.
I could not believe when I looked.
I remember 3 years ago.
I haven't seen this movie since it came out. And I think it came out in December, like around my birthday too. So I remember seeing it. Maybe it was like December 18th or something like that. But I remember seeing it and leaving the theater like just feeling depleted and thinking to myself, I'm like, it's just a movie that I adored, but never really want to experience again. And then getting to watch it again, I was correct. What a miserable feeling film.
It's so good though.
But it is a brisk 2.5 hours. So
it does breeze by
compared to your 6-hour version of Dancing.
I said these two movies took me 4.5 weeks to watch.
I'll tell you what, though, watching the pair of them combined, even over like 4.5 weeks, still feels like less time than watching 1989's Twister. I'll tell you that.
No kidding. Strong agree. Yeah.
It really was a joy. So the interesting thing about this week, especially was for me that I haven't watched Dances with Wolves since the 90s. And like you said, I actually hadn't watched The Revenant since 2015, since it came out. So they were both sort of like retreads for me. But I was also fascinated by the fact that Ryan had never seen Dances with Wolves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And as we have hinted, because Will and I had already taken Dances with Wolves down, Ryan's watching it and he's like, guys, there's 2 hours gone and there's still 2 hours left, and we're like, I don't think so, Ryan. Ours
Yeah.
were three
I
hours
looked
long,
at the
man.
runtime, it was 3 hours and 58 minutes, and I thought something's not right here.
Yep,
But
a
apparently I watched
quick
the
Google. Yep, you found the extended
I
edition.
watched Dances with Wolves American Horizon Part 1 and 2.
So I was looking into this. I was like,
Man.
oh, is this a director's cut? It is not. So Costner didn't touch this one. Like he
Oh
didn't add
God.
the extra stuff in. This is one of those times when, and I think I remember. I'm going back a bit, but did Blank Check not do Kevin Costner? Like
They
I,
did. I
because
don't
I
know if I.
feel like that's where I remember learning about this is from that time when studios would sometimes release extended editions because they were just
Oh.
looking for cash. So they put in all this stuff that was cut out. And so I'm intrigued to one, get Ryan's reaction, but two, to sort of maybe learn about what's in this extra hour.
I honestly, without having seen like the original cut, it's hard for me to know, obviously, what was it added or if it was paced differently or if it was just structured differently. I genuinely don't know. But, you know, yeah, like I kept saying on our text thread, like, yeah, it's really long, but it's a fantastic film.
Mhm.
I really did enjoy it. Like, I
Yeah.
didn't mind watching it at all. It was just chunking 4 hours out of my week on top of the 2.5 hours for the Revenant, plus
Yeah.
however long this podcast goes. I'm like, I might actually do self-harm.
Right. It's just a lot. It's
It's a
like
lot, yeah.
it's really both movies are excellent, but they when you do have full-time jobs and then you're doing this on top,
It's a
it's a
commitment.
chore,
That said, if this 4 hour movie was cut into like 10 hour long episodes, no problem. I would have it done in a weekend.
Yeah, you would
Yeah.
have Netflix that shit.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, this is that's what I was interested in, is because you Ryan doesn't pull his punches when he's on the text thread regarding whether he's enjoying or not enjoying a movie. And the fact that then he's watching a 4 hour version of a movie, I was waiting for just this torrential, like, onslaught of I hate life, I hate everybody, and I hate movies. And you're like, no, this movie's good. And I'm like,
Wait,
whoa.
was that sending that to a different group chat?
Your mum's been like scarred.
Oh God, yeah.
But yeah, so like seriously, like I mean, I was watching it, and while I remembered the movie, I actually remembered it differently than how it actually played out. I think I may have sort of blended other movies into it. But yeah, so Ryan, give me your hot Dances with Wolves 1990 epic revisionist Western take.
I mean, it's no surprise that I had never seen this movie when I was younger. It is like such a dad movie to me. I don't even know if my dad had maybe seen this movie, but maybe I'm misremembering. Like, was this the type of movie that came out on like a double VHS box set, like a
Yes.
Titanic or something like that? It was
Yes,
one
it
of
did.
those. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
this movie feels like homework. I'm not going to watch that. So I never did. But now, watching it now, I'm like, I love this type of movie where whether it's like, Dance with Wolves, Last of the Mohicans, Last Samurai, and like Avatar to a lesser extent, Fern Gully. It's where it's like the bad guy is then taken in by the other people, but it's not really like that. But it's a really fascinating film. The only thing that really didn't work for me was the narration. Like I just don't think Kevin
Oh,
Costner is a great narrator or has the voice for it, and it just that was the only thing that didn't work for me.
Yeah, Will,
it
you were throwing shade about the voiceover, which did not
it
bother me at all. But I was interested that once you guys started pointing it out, I was like, okay, I'm gonna try and watch this with an
it's
open
just
mind.
that it's so bad. Like I think I said it. It feels like he's reading a book report. Like everything is like
Yeah,
these people are not what I expected. I
yeah,
learned
it's
my
the
lesson
cadence
and
of
I
it.
will do better in the future, Mrs. Langbert. It's that's how it reads.
It's
Yeah,
And
like those
oh my
voiceovers when
God.
people on TikTok aren't saying it; they've just got
the
the app to
AI.
say it,
Yeah,
so it has
right,
the
right.
same
Yeah.
term, and I hate them. You
Yeah,
know,
Yeah, there's just no inflection in it, and it's so weird.
and
It reminded me a lot of the Harrison Ford Blade Runner
right?
exactly.
VO.
Yes, of course. And
Yeah, him
I
doing a
think,
voiceover with a gun to his head.
Right.
and like to your point, I think I think that this movie would be even better without it. Like
Yeah.
because you can see everything he's feeling like through his interaction, through his loneliness, just being there by himself. I don't think that needs the narration outside of the fact that he's writing these things in the journal, which comes up later.
Right. That's what I wanted to sort of like bring up is that it like, well, one, it's based off a novel, 1988 novel, Dancer with Wolves, that came out a couple of years earlier. But two is that, yeah, is that very often throughout the movie, and look, and Will, Avatar does the same thing.
But better.
Right. Is that, but like, so
Yeah.
in Avatar, you've got Sam Worthington's character, Jake Sully, is giving reports to the camera, right? So it's exactly the same. He's journaling, but to the camera, and his voiceover is what's explaining. So it does exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
So my whole thing is that while I can sort of like, I see your guys' point, I do see it, is that like, that he is writing in the journal and he's reading what the journal is. It's not so much like a narration, it's more what's being written in the journal, which is going to be a somewhat drier.
It just sounds like shit.
Yeah,
just
that's really my issue.
You're not
with
wrong.
It is the performance of it. It's not so much as the storytelling device bothers me. Although I do think a majority of the movie, I think you could actually cut out the journal entirely, and you
don't think it would hurt the
really.
movie.
Yeah,
but then how would that one guy wipe his ass in the?
That's true. And the only time I thought like, oh, this is why the journal's in the film is when it's like, spoiler alert, it's floating down the river. And I was like, oh, because somebody finds that and that's how we know the story. But then he gets it back. And I was like, well, then what was the point of all of this?
You know,
like, why was this around?
I actually had that same thought because
why even leave it behind? Like,
right. Well, I think it's what I found kind of interesting is that, like I said, I kind of remembered the movie wrong in a way. And what I kind of liked about the movie, the journal being a sort of a specific example actually that I wrote down, but it was like that there were many times where I went, oh, here we go, this is going to happen. Or, oh, here we go, this person's about to die. Or, oh, here we go, this is where it never did. It never did any of those things that it felt like they were setting it up to do. It was actually
in any other movie that I was like primed for that to happen. Like I kept waiting for like some really traumatic thing.
Wind in his hair is gonna die, or smiles too much is about to get shot.
It's not until like his horse is shot and then the wolf is shot where I'm like, fuck these guys, man. Like, like I can handle a kid getting killed in the beginning of a movie, but if you harm like an animal, I'm like, no, I'm out.
Every time the kid didn't die, you kept texting, damn it.
But I was like, well, I'm hopeful because I still have 3 hours left. It's a real toss-up.
During the intermission, you just went to watch some other show that like killed the children right at the beginning and like get your fill. And
just watch that episode of
just my TikTok feed.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, one thing that really surprised me about like Dances with Wolves, like I said, this is a movie that went on to make an absolute shit ton of money, win a bunch of awards, and then the opening of the movie shows the production company, Orion Pictures.
I was shocked to see that.
I was like, am I watching the wrong movie?
Kept waiting for Ninja Turtles to show up? Or,
or RoboCop, yeah. Like,
that's it. Yeah.
So it's the fourth highest grossing movie of the year, but it's
Steampunk RoboCop? Hang on.
Say more. It's the highest grossing Orion Pictures. No surprise there. But didn't they do like, Masters of the Universe and stuff? Like Orion.
No, that's canon.
That's
canon.
That's canon.
Those are my boys. Yeah.
But still, Orion was like an offshoot of. Oh my God, was it? I forgot what studio they were like a subsidiary of.
I forget, but they went bankrupt not too long after this movie.
A joint venture between Warner and United Artists.
Okay.
Apparently.
Yeah. Oh, they must have gone bankrupt when
United in '97
Artists.
Acquired by MGM.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
I love Orion, so like I'm always excited when I see the
crazy
logo.
To see that logo tied to this particular film.
Wasn't expect. I was expecting Weinstein pictures or something.
Well, you're always saying that. But for a movie like this prestigious to have like an Orion logo on it, you're like, huh, it's crazy.
So just in case, if any of you have never heard of Dances with Wolves, basically it tells the story. It's set in 1863. It starts off with basically Lieutenant John Dunbar, J. Dunbar, Kevin Costner's character.
Dunbar.
There's the lieutenant. Civil War's going on. Looks like he's going to have his leg chopped off. Tries to kill himself, but his suicide attempt actually ends up helping the Union Army, and as such, he gets his pick of posts, and he selects going to the frontier before it disappears. So he is sent out into the frontier of and this the interesting thing about sort of like both of these movies is that they take part in a state that doesn't really exist yet. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like the frontier, which is what I
Nebraska.
really like. And what I really like about
What?
like both these movies is they give that feeling.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I mean, my father he loves the massive nature of America, and sort of like he was, you know, he grew up on cowboys and you know, Indians as he calls it. And it's like to see this in the 90s, the production value
Stunning.
is just all America. And
Mhm.
it just feels so big and so empty. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the crazy thing about these sort of like movies is a massive amount of both of these
Yeah.
movies, as long as they
The
are just one dude.
the only thing I didn't really get a sense of was the distance from where the outpost was to where their tribe was.
Right.
Like, you don't get a scene of him like traveling there to get a sense of, is it days, is it weeks? Like,
It seems to
he
be close
considers
enough
them
to be
like,
like
he
an hour or
considers them
two.
neighbors. Yeah. So
Yeah.
he's just
Yeah.
like,
It's just
so
it's a bit of a
again, the
horse ride
journal,
away.
like, well, yeah, why is it such a big fucking deal?
Yeah.
But yeah, so he ends up at this post. He ends up making connecting with the local Sioux neighbors. They speak Lakota. We get Graham Greene again. Graham Greene's great. I mean, I
Yeah.
just love him anyway, and in
Yeah.
everything. But he is in this particular movie, as well as Heat's Wes Studi.
Mhm.
Who's only in like 2 or 3 scenes.
This is the
film.
thing.
Yeah.
I remembered him being a much bigger
Yeah.
character, and I also remembered him being the big bad.
Right.
And so, like, spoiler alert, when he does turn up later and doesn't stick around very long, I was like, huh,
Yeah.
that was interesting. And what I found very, very interesting about this movie, especially Dances with Wolves, is how little actual conflict there is.
Right.
Like, I was waiting
Right.
for like for Wes Studi's character to come in and there to be a huge thing, or then for like, you know, then the army to come back and for there to be a huge thing. There's barely any. There's a quick conflict here, there's a quick conflict there, but most of this movie is just him culturally learning
Yeah.
and understanding.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, it's mostly a hangout movie, which
Yes.
is not what I expected
Yeah.
from this. You know, because I hadn't seen this since like, God, I want to say like third or fourth grade was when I saw it, and I saw it at a friend's house on that double VHS. And same thing as you, Ollie. I had different memories of this. Like, I remember the beginning scene specifically as being the climax to a film version of Custer's Last Stand. Like, that's always like what was in my head is like, oh, there was like a really bad TV movie about Custer's Last Stand, and that was the scene. And so watching this, and that's here, I'm like, oh, did I make up a movie about Custer's Last Stand? Like, nobody should make that film anyway. So
Right,
I
right.
guess good it doesn't exist.
That's the flashback scenes from Thunderheart.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Symmetry.
But
But yeah, no,
But yeah.
this movie is like, you know, because we did Rio Bravo, you know,
Mhm.
this season. We were talking with Adam, with Entertain the Elk about like the sort of the hangout nature of that
Mhm.
movie. And it's so you're right, Will, is like, but in many ways it's him hanging out with himself. You know,
yeah,
it's just like it's and I'm like, I guess for me the magic trick is why isn't it boring? Because it's not.
I was thinking that
I mean,
too.
Brian
Like,
watched a 4-hour version.
I
He's
I
like,
would
"Well, it's
normally
good."
I would be, I think again, maybe Twister primed us for just how not to make a movie.
right.
But this was like really engaging because, you know, like you said, granted, there's not a ton of action, and I think you even mentioned that going into this. But it's
I
still
thought
like
that was more than it actually was. I was like,
Right,
oh,
right,
there's not a
but-
lot. I get to
but
the end, I'm
the-
like, oh shit, there's nothing.
but I had this like I felt like so much unease throughout this movie, just thinking, I just know something really bad is going to happen. And sure, bad things happen in this movie, but not like the way my fucked up brain kind of thinks
Yeah.
bad things are going to happen.
The
Like,
sword of Damocles was kind of hanging.
way
there.
more people could have died. Like,
Yeah.
Yes.
Kids could have died. You know?
yeah, I wish.
I mean, like another thing that I mean, I remember again, like it's been so long because I remember, oh yeah, the music. I remember liking the music, and it started off right at the beginning, and I'm like going, man, this sounds so James Bond, and then John Barry's name turned up, the guy that did
Ah,
every Bond movie that I grew up with, and I was like, oh
Mhm.
shit! So it's got all this sort of almost Bondian sort of like moments and strings and sort of stuff that I was totally into, but
yeah.
it in a way it was a lighter movie than I remember. That's what I mean. So there's less conflict, there's less anger. I was expecting more like
It's a
moments.
PG-13 movie,
I
right?
think so.
I'm
It's
pretty
definitely
sure
not
it is.
R rated.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not really.
it
Wow.
was sort of like, but even then, you still had, I remember the very first thing I remember, like I said, we were all pretty young when we saw that. Well, Will and I, but like that opening scene, the scariness of they're going to chop his leg off, the
Right.
brutality of Civil War sort of doctors and things like that. Again, I remember it being a lot more of a thing.
Mhm.
And like in
Yeah.
this case, it's actually like, again the John Barry like of it all. It's a little bit uplifting, a little bit.
Yeah. If I had a few nits to pick, it would be the how obvious the facial hair wasn't real because he keeps
Yes.
changing, like shaving a lot. I'm like, you can tell that's not real facial hair, or how his like wardrobe slowly changes throughout the progress of the like because he's wearing his uniform for most of the beginning of the film. Then he loses his hat in a trade, or they trade the hats. Then he gives the guy his jacket, and then he basically becomes a Native American, so to speak, like part of their tribe when the cavalry finds him later. So I get it. It just looked a little dated in that sense. That felt very
Well,
90s period for me.
yeah, and a lot of the criticism, especially from First Nations and Indigenous people, come from the wardrobe and the hair and the use
Right.
of feathers and stuff. Like even in Smoke Signals, which we saw,
Yeah.
there's a lot of criticism they have of this movie and that just from
Sure.
like while there's things this movie does for being a Western, how it portrays Native Americans as being actual people instead of like monsters,
Savages
like
and
in
all
the
them. Yeah.
Searchers.
Mm.
Um, like it does a really good job of humanizing them, but then there's also the like, well, we're going to dress them very stereotypically that
Yeah.
that white audiences recognize. So there
Mm.
is also inaccuracies
They
there.
they
So
they do the same thing in the modern Jurassic Park movies because they just them discovering that dinosaurs just had feathers, but people just can't wrap their heads around. They don't want them.
yeah,
Like, no,
so
your
they
brain rejects it. Yeah, they're like, we know the science says this, but we're not going to do that because it's a movie.
right.
But I guess that they didn't have a ton of like native consultation while making this
Right.
film.
Yeah.
You know,
I think what's her name? Graham Greene's wife in the movie is even in Smoke Signals, which I thought was
yeah,
interesting.
That's right. Yes,
yeah.
Mhm.
that's right. I knew I recognized that face.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, interesting. So none of the cast spoke Lakota, so they got a lot
Mhm.
of like native,
Yeah, oh
people.
yeah, the cast is there, but
And
I'm
but they
wondering.
brought in a language teacher to teach Lakota. Um, there's yeah, certain things. It's natives said they found it kind of amusing to hear Lakota warriors talking like women because there's a certain gendered specific approach to
Interesting.
Mhm.
Lakota that they found to be like, okay, this is going to be too complicated. So they kind of like gave a sort of simplified Lakota. And so,
Mhm.
yeah, so people that can speak Lakota, it's like, I don't know, it's like they're doing it with like a funny accent in a way, if you will.
Yeah.
But
I'm
there's
just
no,
glad the version I watch had subtitles. Otherwise, I'd be really fucking confused. Like,
but then it's kind of like, the interesting part as well that it sort of brings in the story is that then when he does make contact with the Sioux, that there's stands with a fist
Mhm.
is a character who's there that he meets right at the beginning, but it's the character that is basically a Mary McDonnell
hmm,
is
Mhm.
she plays a white woman who's been raised with the Sioux, which gives this kind of like this interesting
right.
opportunity for.
You know she's gonna have to translate, but the wrinkle that she basically doesn't remember how to speak English,
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
which was a nice twist. I'm not gonna do the voice.
Oh, yeah. We have to talk about. We were talking about before we
It's okay,
started
I got
recording.
it.
But it's as always, Ryan's usually got the joke of the week, and
And as always, it's problematic.
but this one was so funny. Is that I'm gonna give her credit because her sort of like her English accent through Lakota with a Lakota accent on top of her
Mhm.
trying to remember how to speak English really does feel very real.
Yeah,
And
like her stammering, like trying to find the right
find the
words,
words with
word
all
like
that
it makes
inflection.
sense. Like she's really straining herself to remember how to communicate in English to Kevin
Mhm.
Costner's character. It's
But
so
right,
much so that she sounds like comes off sounding like Simple Jack from Tropic Thunder.
it was so funny. I didn't see it until you said it, and then that's all I could hear from that point. I was like, oh my God. Interestingly enough, though, I was interested to see whether you guys were gonna kind of like react to the idea of, oh, it's kind of like it's a bit lazy to put the white character in with the
Well,
natives.
once she showed up, I went through a swing of emotions. I was like, one, oh, I really hope they're not trying to pass her off as
Oh,
Right.
native,
a
yeah, yeah.
natural native, because my that was my first thought. I'm like, that seems very wrong. But then again, I don't know if this is in your version, but you get like a really brief flashback to her childhood.
Yeah, we get that.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Which so there's not a ton of flashbacks in this, but that might be the only one, so it
Right.
I think it
feels
is.
weird. But yeah, like once that kind of I was able to piece that together. I'm like, oh, okay, she's going to be the conduit for him to learn how to communicate with the tribe better.
But interesting enough, there is a historical precedent. In fact, it's quite a famous story here in Texas. It's the story of Cynthia Ann Parker, who was captured by Comanches at age 9 and was assimilated into their culture. She even went on to, at one point, marry the chief. She lived with the Comanche for 25 years before she was rescued by Texas Rangers. It's a very interesting story, one that I've actually been thinking about
That's
telling
got
one
to
of
be
our
it. That's
Englishmen.
it's got to be a movie already. Like
No,
it sounds.
honestly, it's that's the one thing is that like if anyone's sort of like going, oh, that seems like a bit of a inch stupid or lazy or whatever, is that no, this is a very like a
No,
legitimate thing. So
it worked in the movie. I just, like I said, went through. I was like, oh man, I really hope they're not trying to whitewash this
Mhm.
thing and pass her off. But then you
Right.
get the bit of her backstory, and then I was like, oh, okay, so she's gonna help him communicate. What I didn't expect was her to be so fucking bad at it.
Yeah. I think also they were kind of, you know, in a little bit of a rock and a hard place because do you do the whole white guy falls in love with like
Right.
native woman trope and that's got its own like baggage with
Like in
it.
every other movie, like
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, do you do that? So I think there's a
Only if
little
they were
bit.
both blue.
Yes. See, now we fixed it.
I get it.
Like, so I think there's a little bit of how do you thread this needle, and I do think they succeeded for the most part.
It's a
Yeah.
little clumsy though, because you get
Mhm.
like how he comes across her. She's in mourning because her husband is killed.
Right.
He had
Um,
just died,
he
and
had,
she is in
right.
mourning.
Did they say how? I forget.
I feel like maybe it was during some conflict with the Pawnee.
Okay. I
Maybe just in battle or something like that. But yeah, he had very
maybe I
big
missed that hour.
winds in his hair. His
That's in the
best
fifth
mate.
hour that you never saw.
But like you also know that because it's Kevin Costner and it's her, I'm like, they're gonna kind of fall for each other. But then you
Yeah.
get that the clumsy bit of like, well, because he's asking about her, but so they the main guys in the tribe go off to
Fight, and they
right.
leave Kevin Costner
They
in
leave
charge.
Kevin Costner behind because he's not ready, even though he's like a
It's
skilled
not his battle.
yeah, even though
Mhm.
he's a skilled fighter. So he's got to stay around with the old people, the women and the kids, like a little bitch, sure. But it's just him like still learning how to communicate with the elder, and he's like, so what's up with stands with her fist, she's good to go. He's like, and that whole thing was so funny to me because it was
Mhm.
the dialogue is just so blunt.
Yeah,
He's like,
Right.
nope, her husband died and she's in mourning. He's like, all right, well,
yeah. I like the way
How
the
long does
guy
that go
goes.
on for?
yeah,
Okay,
in the
so
morning, like,
yeah, but I like the way
Alex.
that he goes. He goes, yeah, okay. So this is actually rude to ask, but you don't know any better, so I'll tell
Right,
you at the
I'll
same
tell
time.
you
Right.
anyway.
Yeah.
It's like, but yeah, I mean that's what I like is that as well as it being, very much like, as well as so sure they're making some mistakes regarding the feathers or the outfits and the stuff like that, or maybe the genderized Lakota or whatever, but is it very much does show like, man, these guys were living a way better. It does make it, man, we suck. Like
Yeah,
the world, the white, but there's no white savior in this. There's
no,
no
no.
like, I'm gonna lead you into battle.
Much like us as the audience, you're just genuinely inquisitive to learn about how they operate and how their culture works and well, like it's so fascinating. You get that drip feed of like him teaching them things, like teaching how to grind coffee when they're doing the sugar in the coffee. That was fucking hysterical. I love that.
Yeah, that was
Just
funny.
grabbing it out of the sack, and
And
he's
the way
just,
that
just
Graham
throwing
Greene like
it.
covers his coffee and like moves it
yeah,
away. It's got little comedy moments and stuff.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's really good.
Yeah, I love, like under his breath, he's like, "That's a lot of sugar." It's just-
But it's like,
but
for example, I mean, the most you get, it's when the Pawnee are coming, they spot the war party, he goes, "Let me go get some guns." But you don't get that scene, like there's no montage of him teaching them, and then there's no like this then changed the world in much the same way that, you know, Tom Cruise riding in a battle with the samurai, or even like I was just watching Shogun, like you guys were talking about, and you've got like the
Mhm.
character that
pretty
teaches
much the same. Yeah, for
naval,
sure.
like, you know, canon kind of stuff, like things like that. That's again, that's not the point of the movie.
No,
Right.
The point of the movie is very much just some guy who
right.
wanted to see the frontier. This is what the frontier, and him learning from the people that live in
Yeah.
harmony with the land.
He's like, I'm so sick of this shit. Just station me in the furthest fucking outpost from here where nothing happens. Leave me alone with my horse. like,
Yeah.
He said horse.
yeah, and my
It was
my-
the same thing back then.
and my gurnal, like he just wants to write his little notes down and
Mhm.
mutter about it's just that it's the American dream. Just like leave me alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
it's interesting because like the bit I also forgot was like Officer Piss Pants. You know, the
Yeah, I was
crazy guy
curious
who sends him
about
off and then
that.
blows his head off, and that's kind of
Right.
like, so no one even really knows he's there. You know, it's
Yeah.
kind of like the interesting
Right, okay.
sort of part is he's just there, and it's I mean, like after sort of like the horrors of war and stuff like that. That's what I'm just like saying is the magic trick of this movie is it should be really really boring, and it's
Yeah.
not, and it's Kevin Costner's first like go out as a director, and he's directing himself, and it looks great and it runs great, and it's a great watch, and it's just all in all pretty bloody satisfying. It's just like I said, it's like, well, this movie works.
I will say it's Kevin Costner really really thought what audiences wanted to see was his ass.
They
Because
were right.
it came up here, it comes up in Robin Hood, and I'm just like, this is like
That's
a thing.
I
for
love
him.
that in the 90s though. That's just like what the peak male form looked like versus
I really
now you're just like,
appreciate that.
Right.
just the most
Yeah.
normal looking
Yeah,
dude. Like
just remember, like, you know, like this is what guys used to look like, or that, or like, you know, Harrison Ford in the first Indiana Jones movie, and then, you know, then suddenly Indiana Jones is in Harrison Ford's in What Lies Beneath, and he looks like incredible.
yeah,
Yeah.
well,
And now, if you don't have an 8-pack, it's honestly like,
Right.
you know, that's the thing about, in a way, like movies now, is that there's far too many people that don't look like real human beings.
yeah.
Mhm.
You know, far too many people that just like, well, you eat boiled chicken and go to the
And
gym. all the
remind
time.
me, which one of us has a framed Men's Health cover of themselves on their wall when you
Hey.
walk into their house?
Shut the fuck up. that is on a magazine that specifically says people have muscles, not this is what normal people look like. And I talk all the time about
Okay.
that was
Okay.
I was very dehydrated for that picture. Go fuck yourself.
We're just jealous because we're both on Body Pillow Monthly. So
Right.
Well, you're not wrong. But it was like I said, I had the same thought of just like, oh man, that's just what
Normal dude. Yeah.
handsome leading man used to be, is just a normal guy. And it's like,
Yeah.
No, I do like, of course, my mind wanders to think like, I forget what the first movie we talked about it was, where we were trying to figure out like who would be better suited in this, but it's always Kurt Russell. Like I could just like
yes.
put Kurt Russell and one of or Patrick, maybe not Patrick Swayze, but I think a Kurt Russell type. But like, I never really found Kevin Costner to be that interesting of an actor. Like I like some of his movies, but the idea of watching a Kevin Costner movie just never jumped out at me.
really,
He
I
wasn't
was
a big draw
like,
for
I
me.
always was. I love Kevin Costner. Like, I love like, as a British guy, I love his Robin Hood, and he has like the most American accent. He has a British accent for one line. He goes, Robin of Locksley. And then the rest of the movie is like, I am Robin Hood. How y'all doing? And I'm like, don't care.
Yeah.
Greatest movie ever. Watched it 7,000 times. And like, you know, I was watching Dance with Wolves, and like I was going to say to you guys, hey man, without Dance with Wolves, we don't get Waterworld, we don't get The Postman, we don't get we don't get
Keep going.
Horizon.
Keep going.
So you're saying we should not have made this,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Gotcha.
But the thing is, you know, I love like Tin Cup. Is like one of my favorite.
No Way Out, we did.
I
too,
love
right?
No
Did you
Way
say?
No
Out.
Way Out's
No Way
fantastic.
Out is just an
Untouchables,
absolute banger.
yeah.
Untouchables, exactly. There's there are certain times when Kevin
I
Costner
agree.
is perfect for the movie.
I agree, and I'm shocked to learn that you're British. That was it's been 2 years. I can't.
Next we're gonna be surprised about some sort of boarding school. But that can't possibly be.
Waterboarding school.
You know, not far from the truth.
But I like that. I don't know if you were going to segue, but I like that Dances with Wolves ends right at the beginning of The Revenant.
Pretty much.
Yeah. They dive right into each other. Yeah.
I mean, even like in the sort of thematic, like it's just the, we're in the cold, we're in the mountains kind of stuff. And even that, like I said, like you're right, but like Dances with Wolves, then it sets up, okay, you're expecting like the tragic end that doesn't really come. And then you're expecting, oh, here we go. The troops have found them. Here we go. And it's like, no, we just wrote off.
Isn't on mine there was like an end title credit that said like 13 years after this.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
It all went real bad.
Yeah. Basically 13 years later, the frontier was gone and all the bad shit sort of happened. Yeah. But we can't move on without talking about the part that I remember being spectacular when I was younger. And it still is the buffalo scene.
Oh, for sure.
I want to talk to you guys about that buffalo scene. Like
incredible.
Ryan, because even you were like, oh, okay.
I was like, it's crazy, like, because we'll get into the budget of this movie, but like to orchestrate a shot like that, I mean, how do you even fucking do it? It's so insane.
Yeah,
like the buffalo, the horses, all of them hunting with bows and arrows and rifles. Like it's bewildering. Incredible shot.
Yeah, especially back then when you
not a cell phone insight.
Yeah, when you don't have ChatGPT to make your movie for you, you do wonder how are they like getting like the buffalo to fall down? Like,
yeah,
how are they getting shot? And like just the camera work in it is
crazy,
so stunning.
It seems so like it felt legitimately dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. That's exactly the word.
It's all of them riding those horses like that close. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you can see it's Costner riding.
It's crazy,
and it's like exactly like you said. It's not close up. It's a long lens. They are shooting this from across the valley. They're shooting this like
it's a beautiful film.
It's
beautiful.
Stunning. Yeah. And so yes, you've got tens of thousands of buffalo, and you've got 4 or 5 people out there on horses. You can't control that situation if someone goes down or something like that. You've got Costner racking that rifle and firing it. You've got brilliant sort of like editing of people firing bows and arrows. And it's like, but then cutting
too. Yeah.
to these incredible sort of like really sort of moments of that buffalo went down. Now they spent $250,000 on animatronic buffalo. So they're not really shooting buffalo, but you could have fooled me.
No, I mean
no.
I mean I didn't think they were really shooting buffalo, but
no. But there were some shots where I was just like, is that like, especially when the buffalo were going down, where I was just like, wow, is that an actual? Did they train a buffalo, or I guess if that's an animatronic,
even like conversely to that, like training that wolf, which I assume is half wolf, half dog, just for safety's sake. Like, I mean, because it kind of looked like a coyote sometimes, but it was incredible training on that wolf. Like,
I mean, look,
really
the best acting of Two Socks in the whole movie is Two Socks taking the food from his hand.
Yeah.
It's again could have fooled me that they were like, no, like Kevin, just sit there for 6 hours and see if you can get the fucking thing to eat, because it was like it didn't want to do it. It didn't want to do it, and then it got it and just snapped away. Brilliant. I mean, just crazy to me.
Yeah,
like, that's what it is. There's so many little magic tricks going on in this movie.
It feels so tactile and like so real that you take for granted that you see movies made nowadays and they just don't feel like that anymore. I mean, there are some that do, but this is just
Horizon mostly
out there.
Well, no, and it's actually I think this is for me the right time to sort of like to jump over is that nowadays these movies aren't made like this. You've got you're in Atlanta, you got a big green screen. You very rarely get out there and you shoot something like this because it's hard. It's hard. It's tricky. I mean, and like you said, you mentioned, and Will couldn't believe it. So we figured this out right before we started rolling. The budget on Dances with Wolves was $22 million. $22 million, not 220.
All of that was for facial hair.
Yeah,
it made 420 million, but like this, I don't understand. Like, honestly, what Will said, the amount of extras and uniforms and muskets and rifles and horses and everything just in that beginning scene. And I guess are the costs kept down by the. Did Kevin
Yeah,
not
I
get
mean,
paid?
was any of this shot in a studio? Because it certainly did. Even the
Nope.
interiors certainly didn't feel like it.
Yeah,
No.
Like
there's
it's,
nothing
I
about
mean,
this
it's
that says studio.
his cabin, and then a couple of teepees, but outside of that, there's really not a ton of interior
Outside
stuff.
is just outside. Yeah, we are
Right,
just
right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
outside
yeah.
most of the
it,
time. 22
it
million. I don't
and
understand.
again, that's $1990, 20 million. 1989's Twister was 100 million.
It can't be true. That has to be. We can't believe it. I'm going to need to find someone that worked
I,
on that movie.
I am so convinced we uncovered a crime.
You're gonna look
Like,
into it like Tim Robinson looking into Tekka, the chair
yes,
company, and
season
just
two of the
slowly
Chair Company is me
you're gonna
looking into the
slowly lose your
finances
mind.
of Vestron Video.
Yeah.
So okay, so interesting enough, as I'm here, budget overran. So the budget was 18 mil. Because of budget overruns and general industry reluctance to invest in a Western, Costner put 3 million of his own cash in to finish the movie. Went into gross over, like I said, 400 million. So he actually earned 40 million back from his investment.
Wow.
But it's like that's 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 crazy. You can make that movie. And I know you're saying 90, but even then,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
you know,
No, it
holy
wasn't
shit.
like they were pumping out westerns in the 90s.
No, but to make a 3 hour feature length film, like studio release film,
That
it's
you'd
unheard
consider
of.
an epic
Yeah.
in
Right.
many ways. Good
No, it
lord.
wasn't until like Titanic where you could, or Braveheart would be another one that like made me think of that, like
Yeah,
from a
but
running
even
time
then
perspective.
there would be like period pieces that were still kind of big budget, specifically westerns by the 90s were
Yeah,
like,
you don't
yeah,
need.
that's dead, man. Like what are you
Yeah.
doing?
We already did
Even though
Unforgiven. Like we don't need this
yeah,
anymore,
like
right?
even though despite 90s produced like a couple of the greatest westerns of all time, pretty much by then, like by
The
the
quick,
80s they
the
were
quick and the
dead.
dead. Yeah.
Well, it's
Yeah.
because I think it's kind of like we talked about with Unforgiven that like when we got to the 90s, that like the revisionist Western came in. And
Hmm.
Mhm.
instead of it being like, the when like I said, when we talked about Rio Bravo, there was that time from black and white and 50s and 60s and even in 70s even that it was like the superhero genre.
Right.
Every movie was a Western.
Hmm.
Every TV
Mhm.
show was a Western. Gunsmoke and it was everywhere. So then we got completely saturated. And then when you got the new generation, the sort of the Gen X kids, and you got 80s sort of coming in, and it's like we don't want to watch the shit that our mum and dad were watching. We want to watch stuff like RoboCop and Back to the Future and all this kind of stuff. But then those, some of those Gen Xers or like, they were like,
We got old and started watching 310 to Yuma and
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like,
The
Yeah.
Quick and the Dead. And,
should we make
yeah.
a Western, but should we make it feel
Cowboys
real?
and Aliens.
Yeah, right. But that's why I think like when they did make them in the 90s, they were rare,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and it was Costner doing it, or it was
Or
Ethan
like Young
doing it,
Young
and
Guns,
and
right?
it's like, yeah, I mean, even fuck, I love Young Guns, but it's like, yeah, it was just made things a bit dirtier and a bit like
Uh,
less like Rio Bravo, like of
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, of
singing a
course.
song, and
You're
more
right.
like, I'm gonna shoot that motherfucker in the face, it's like that kind of
Mhm.
stuff. So that's why I think they worked, and that's why I still
Yeah.
think they work. But much like Dances with Wolves being shot outside and the fact that it is expensive, The Revenant. Let's go over and talk about Revenant, which is a movie that takes it even further, but a movie that had a budget of 135 million to
Yeah.
make. And it took, I mean, I was saying it was only like an 80-day shoot, but it took
It looks so like
18 months to do it. Or
not
something.
only did I feel just so
9 months.
miserable watching this movie, it had to have been miserable to make this movie.
At all
Yeah.
times. That is
Like
the thing I am thinking the most. Because as much as, like Ryan was pointing out, man, it must be hard to make that movie in like, like Dance with Wolves and it's outside. And you've got to think, oh man, there's crew, there's got to be trailers, there's got to be all sorts of stuff, right? You're watching The Revenant, and it's all of that multiplied by mountains,
you almost
multiplied by actual snow, multiplied by
yeah,
freezing
you
water.
almost forget like you're watching a movie. Like it's one of those things where it's like, well, we're not gonna have a crew, we're just gonna have a guy with a camera, we're gonna dump all of you out there and you just figure it out.
It
That's what it
Yeah.
felt like.
almost felt like that because
Huh.
this movie, it's stunning. This movie is stunning.
Emmanuel
look at.
Lubezki shot this one.
I want to say
Yep.
Yes, yes. Um,
Oh, for sure.
who's he's worked with he did Gravity. He's worked with he's done some incredible work. I mean, the
And
thing
they both haven't done a lot since this movie, which is kind of shocking. Like I
That's
know
crazy.
Inarritu had a few films after this, but nothing is like
he's got his next one is the Tom Cruise comedy.
I
I was
know
about to
that's what
say
I'm
he's got
saying.
Digger,
Like,
right? Yeah.
but what did you say?
I know. I gotta be real careful saying that title.
That first letter dropped out. What? No,
Oh
but I
no.
so yeah,
Oh
like I
no.
know he's got that movie coming out, but I was just kind of surprised to see after this movie, he did a couple like music videos and stuff like that, but there wasn't, I think maybe he had like an anthology film that was probably dumped on Netflix, but did not a lot after The Revenant.
But this guy, I mean, like, honestly, as a cinematographer, you know, I had no idea he did Sleepy Hollow, which I was like,
Hmm.
I was surprised. So he did Sleepy Hollow, but Children of Men, which, oh my God,
Hmm.
are
Yeah.
just one of the most incredible sort of things. And I saw, oh wait, he did that, and Birdman, and Gravity, and The Revenant. I mean, this guy he's worked with Terrence Malick, Alfonso Cuarón, and Alejandro Gonzalez
Yeah.
Inarritu. And I'm like, dude, the guy is
This
like got
on my
a full
second
house.
watch, on my second watch of this movie, I'm like, this feels like a Terrence Malick movie.
It
Like the
Yes.
does.
shots, like
Yeah.
the shots of looking up at the trees, just the way he's moving the camera, where it's behind someone, is very handheld.
The voiceover
Oh,
too is
yeah,
very Terrence Malick.
yeah.
But
The
then there's actual plot and
action.
action
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
instead of 3 hours of
Yeah.
just trees blowing
But
and
I
just
was shocked to see
Yeah.
like just how much it felt visually like a Terrence Malick film.
I was like it stuck out to me. Now it's something that like people like I've been seeing videos talking about it. I know Will's talked about it as well. Is the sameness of let's say Netflix
Mhm.
movies where everything's just a bit sort of high def and everything's in focus, and then you get sort of like this sort of almost soft filmic quality of like say Dances with Wolves, and the sort of like depth and things like that. But
Mhm.
The Revenant is like 4K. I've got like the 4K UHD version, right? It's like it's
Mhm.
4K digital, but I'm like everything's
Gorgeous.
in focus. It's total focus. So
Mhm.
whatever's
Mhm.
right, everything all the way back to 3 miles in the background is in pure focus, but it all looks
Yeah.
astounding.
There was even a bit where it's when he after he finds his son, not to jump ahead, but after he finds his son, I mean, this movie like flies. Like it is
Yeah.
It
paced
really
super
does.
well. Like I can mention my text thread, like I forget that the bear scene happens like within
20
20 minutes of
minutes.
the movie.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I for some reason thought that was halfway through, but when he finds his son dead on the floor and he's like laying on his chest, he's like breathing, but he fogs up the camera
Yes.
lens. I was like, you would never in a million years do that. But in
Correct.
this, I'm just like, yeah, sure, yeah, that works.
It was not
Mhm.
just that, right? So that's why, because to go back, because you were kind of saying it feels almost like it's real, not like a film. It's that sort of thing adds into it. Does it any other movie? It would take you out of the movie,
Yeah,
but
that's exactly right.
what it
Yeah.
actually does is it makes you feel cold. And it's
Uh-huh.
like,
Yeah.
and then you had that really interesting. There's two times when that sort of happened that I really enjoyed because there's one, it goes from breath to fogging up the lens, cuts to clouds, cuts to Tom Hardy blowing smoke.
Hmm.
Was like it's just sort of like a thematic, but without it like being a perfect sort of thing match. It was just I really like that. But then
It just, yeah, it's
the
really good.
other time they do the fogging up of the lens is when the bear does it.
Hmm.
So like so to
Mhm.
make it just that level of it's real, of where right up there and the bear's right up by his face and the bear breathes and it fogs up the camera. I go, that's genius. Because now
Mhm.
I'm just like, well, I mean, it's a real bear. You know,
Hmm.
like convince
Mhm.
me it's not a real bear. I mean, that whole scene is just, oh my God, it just keeps going.
And I wonder if that was part of the discussion of when they were shooting the movie and they have the scene of him breathe of the guy breathing. It's Leo, right? Breathes
Yeah,
into the
yeah.
yeah. Of Leo breathing and it fogging up the screen. If the discussion was we got to have the bear do the same thing, or we got to reshoot it because if the bear does the same thing, now it's not a mistake, and now it like
It stands out.
it makes everything feel more real.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Um, and so I bet that was part of the discussion. And it's always interesting when filmmakers like when they choose because this stuff is real kind of like fine line type stuff is because that can easily take people out of a movie. I don't know why this just came to mind as we were talking about it. but like in the new Superman movie, I saw some people like criticizing the scene where Superman's flying and it's like straight on and he's like, to camera. And because the VFX guys came out and they're like, oh, where his hair is whipping back and forth and all that, that's all CG hair. And I saw people being like, why would they CG like his hair flying? And I think it was the cinematographer was like, well, we can't have him Superman like with a fan off screen blowing him in the face because he's going to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't look
That
right
wouldn't,
for
yeah,
Superman.
Superman wouldn't do that. Yeah.
These are all like really kind of like stuff where behind the scenes, these are hours of discussions people are having.
Yeah.
And
how do we have him shave?
Right. But it's stuff like that. It's real subtle,
Yeah.
and I would have loved to hear like, was that a big discussion?
And it didn't even clock it my first. I mean, so 10 years ago, I probably didn't even clock it my first time watching the movie because you're just so immersed already that you believe it. Like I think it adds to that level of immersion.
Well, like every. I was watching something else so that we're talking about this, but it's like with everything being in focus, there's so much for your eye to see. Like, for example, when we sort of see the trappers right at the beginning, and instead of it just being like, just one person or it's a close up, we're following a character, but there are 30 other things to see in shot. These people are carrying, these people are like, putting stuff up. These guys are cooking around a thing. These guys are making some food. And like it's just so much.
It's all a wonder too.
I mean, the thing is, it looks so real, and yet there are so many hidden VFX in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean is like, again, something else I need to mention, ladies and gents, if you haven't seen The Revenant, it's all shot except for they say one scene to do with fire. The whole thing is shot with natural light. So, which makes it almost fucking impossible. So, like, it was an 80-day shoot over 9 months where there's no, can we move that light? It's, can we wait until the sun's in the right place?
Mm-hmm.
And they're shooting it in the middle of nowhere in cold conditions. I want to see the 5-hour documentary of how you make this movie. I'm really annoyed.
It's called Dances with Wolves.
Right. But like this, like on my version, like the one that I bought, there's no like bonus features about this. And I'm like, the opening shot of just like they're walking along, not like the actual establishment, not the dream sequence, but they're just walking through the water and they've got their muskets and the way the camera is just gliding over this water. Like I said, we're not shooting this in a soundstage. There's no like thing you can run a cable along.
They're not in the volume, that's for sure.
It's just. I mean, you understand why it won so many awards for so many ways, because just the effort to go for realism in this movie is to a level I don't think any other movie's ever done.
It's both frustrating and understandable as to why people don't make movies like this anymore.
Exactly.
Like,
that's
get it.
Like, that was the segue. Is like, see how hard it is.
Yeah.
But when
is this what you want? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, having shot
me in the theater eating popcorn, like I could do that.
Yeah. I mean, having been on many productions now that have shot in the woods, outdoors, nah, it sucks. I don't want to do it ever again. I've had friends be like, "Hey, we're going to shoot this project. We're going to be up in Prescott Pines." No, I'm good.
Yeah, you say all that, and then they give you the title Coven 2, the Covening.
Well, now hold on.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's like, it's Spielberg talking about making Jaws. It's Spielberg and Lucas talking about making Indiana Jones. It's Lucas talking about making Star Wars in Tunisia.
Yep.
It's like, there's just like, I mean, sure, but there's always like a giant but. It was awful.
I mean, I've made the joke before, but when I was a kid, I would just be like, why are all these Star Wars prequels green screen? This looks stupid. And after making a dozen projects outside, I'm like, Lucas is a genius. The outdoors sucks. Like, this is stupid.
You can't control, but to the credit of this, it adds to the immersion and just tactile feel of this movie.
If Netflix made this movie today, it would look like shit.
I mean, I say this all the time. Like, I've watched some really like graphic, horrific things, but this movie actually elicits such a visceral feel while you watch it, and it's so rare that you get a movie that does that to you.
It's incredible.
A movie like this,
like I said, we were saying, we're watching it. We are watching it. I turned up the heat. I'm put my hoodie up. I'm feeling freezing cold. watching this movie, and it's like, and there's also just incredible sort of things like, amazing way they stitch together some of these Warners.
Yeah,
it's the momentum and the way that people are getting hit by arrows or people burning. But like for me, the most standout moment of I'm cringing, like I am cringing during the bear attack, but it's the sound design of when the jaw goes around his skull.
Yeah.
And you hear teeth against skull. And you've got this kind of hollow sound because his mouth's open. Whoever did the sound design for that moment, mate, and incredible, but go fuck yourself.
The other thing too, like he survives this horrific attack, but like his journey to like get better. What's the time frame of this? Like it seems like it's 3 days. Like it doesn't seem like it's very long at all, right?
Well,
a month maybe.
I'd say it's weeks because they talked about how long it was originally going to take back to get to the fort, how much time they're going to save by cutting the corner. And then
I know, but he crawls down to the river and he takes that first drink of water and you see it come out of his throat.
Yes.
Oh,
incredible.
And then he's got to plug up his fucking neck hole with gunpowder, and like he would die of infection immediately.
Well, so the interesting thing about this is it's actually a true story. Now,
oh my god!
Like, so the story about this guy crawling out of this is true. What's his name? Glass. Hugh Glass? Yeah, fur trapper. Hugh Glass.
Huge ass. Yeah.
Yes, huge. I saw this. I was like, Simpsons? You bastard. Simpsons did it. No, it's actually based off like a true story. But like the crazy thing about it as well is that, so I've said to Mrs. I was like, Mrs., you can watch this movie, but she would hate it, because the son dies. But I'm like, but she even knows the story too, is that Hugh Glass didn't have a kid. And like fundamentally, the true version of this story is what's that version? Fitzgerald or whatever his name is. They left him for dead, but Fitzgerald took his rifle. He went for his rifle. He's like, that motherfucker's gotta die. He crawled his way out of this thing and hunted this guy down to kill him for the rifle, not for a child. I mean, at least you get hints of it, like where Fitz is like, you can look at me instead of polishing that rifle. And like you see him take it later, but like I like that for the story. They go, guys, we have to add a dead kid in, otherwise this guy's just full on crazy.
Well, what if it was like another rifle and it's like the wrong rifle died?
The wrong rifle died.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, that's too American of a story for a Spanish guy to make. He's just like can't wrap his mind around it. Like really for his gun, and as an American, it's like hell yeah, brother, like get that guy. But everyone else in the world is like, let's make it a more believable motivation, please.
We got to talk about Tom Hardy in this movie for a little bit.
Oh, Tom Hardy doing a goofy voice. I love it.
Give me more. It's so funny. I thought his voice was perfectly normal, but then he takes his hat off and he's just got the most fucked up hairline you've ever seen.
Well, and then it's like, oh, because he got scalped. It's not, it's like they chopped half his head off. I know it's like
hot.
It's such a reveal.
Speaking of like the sound design, I love the line setup of when he's describing like how it how it felt and how it sounded and all that. And when he describes the sound, I love that that's a setup for later in the movie when and then you hear the sound and
I told you.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just hear the crunching off screen.
Oh, it's like it's so brutal. Yeah. It's like but Tom Hardy, like
he was great.
This movie is known for. This is where Leo got his Oscar, but like, where was Tom Hardy's, man? Like, he is.
Did he not
so
win?
Crazy? No,
because he did get nominated, right? It won Academy Awards for Best Director, Best Actor, Best Cinematographer. But it got 12 nominations. Yeah, Hardy, man, who won that year? Who beat? I mean, I think Tom Hardy. That guy has gone from.
They gave it to the gun, the rifle.
The scalp.
It shows up in memoriam.
It's just like for like Tom Hardy's. You look at that guy's filmography, and like kind of like how he could have like Tom Hardy could have he's in like Black Hawk Down, very young Black Hawk Down. He's in like Band of Brothers, and he was like kind of pretty when he was younger. He kind of was. I saw him on like The Big Breakfast in a modeling competition, and I just love how he's like no.
Did you also know that he had a rap career under the pseudonym Frankie Pulitzer?
He still does.
And it's fucking amazing.
Yes.
I mean, well, let's not forget about his biggest cinematic accomplishment, playing Picard's clone in Star Trek Nemesis,
Yes, right.
which is
Star
where
Trek
I first
Nemesis.
saw him. So,
And it's like,
we lost Ryan again.
So I was gonna try and pretend to freeze, but
so like
I think my
he's in a
favorite was Bronson by
Yeah.
yes. So that's
Nicholas Meyer.
that was the one that broke. Like he had
So
Bronson
good.
really broke him out. He's great in that. I remember just that. I remember the posters. But he's in Black Hawk Down and Nemesis in 2001, 2002. He's in Layer Cake in 2004. You don't really recognize him. He's in about 10 movies. He turns up in Sucker Punch, Rock and Roller, but
Rock
Bronson
and Roller,
2008. And then Inception. For me, is Inception was when he went.
Right.
You know, he was so good in that, and then suddenly he's in Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, Warrior, Dark Knight Rises, Locke, The Drop,
Peaky
Mad
Blinders.
Max, Legend, Dunkirk. He's like, you know, I mean, but yeah, Peaky Blinders. Like, I just honestly, I only just finished the last season. I was so far ahead on all of them. The last season I found kind of hard to take down initially. Glad I did because they've got the movie coming out.
I don't think I can listen to a British person talk for that long.
Mate, Tom Hardy is almost impossible to understand.
Yeah.
I just picture the scene from like Year of the Rabbit where he's trying to teach him how to speak Cockney. Like it's like that's just or it will mention the SNL bit where it's Bill Hader trying to like, every line of dialogue.
But yeah, I mean, Tom Hardy's like
Amazing.
had such a career, and
I had such high hopes for the movie Havoc, which was announced like fucking 10 years ago. It was Gareth Evans.
I watched
movie.
20 minutes of it.
It was so I was shocked at how bad it was.
Yeah, I turned it off.
So bad. Like visually just ugh. And I didn't care for the Venom movies. I think it's cool that he did them, but
I've only seen the second one, which was a lot of fun because it was exactly 90 minutes. I have no context for the first movie, and so I'm watching it and I'm like, is this is what Venom is? And
he's doing like a Brooklyn accent, but he lives in San Francisco. It's just strange.
It's a strange voice, but you put Tom Hardy doing a goofy voice in a movie, and I'm
there.
Yeah,
100%.
I'm on record as saying the only issue The Last Jedi has is it cut out Tom Hardy's cameo where he's doing a goofy voice. He slaps Finn on the ass and everything. It's like, how do you lose that scene?
He's stupid. Like, yeah, he's great in like he's a guy that still looks compelling and like a movie star, but he also looks like he smells bad all the time. Like he's always dirty, like Mad Max, filthy. Right. Yes. Like this movie, he's filthy. It's like it's constant like.
And he's got when he wants to look terrifying, like his eyes, like he's just got a look where you're like, oh, that's the scariest guy I've ever seen.
Have you seen Legend when he plays the two Kree twins?
Oh, right.
Yes, of course. It's got two Tom Hardys in it. That's one of my main requirements for a movie.
And how
two
one
Tom
of
Hardys
is
two Arnold
terrifying, and the other one, it's just the guy is a fucking genius. And he's like to go in a movie like this, which is like with DiCaprio, he just put himself in every situation possible for like the last shot of the movie after he has been doing this for 9 months and shooting in Canada and Argentina, and he's been in frozen lakes, and he's eating actual bison like liver even though he's a vegan, and
which happens in both of these movies.
It does, both of them. Incredible. And he's like he had the flu like multiple times, and he's just shooting through it, and the very last shot he just breaks the fourth wall, looks dead into the camera, and it's just like, can I have my fucking Oscar now? It's just
please.
Did you watch this movie?
I forgot that was the end of the movie. And the credits roll, and you're like...
It is a little weird that his last line is, audience, what do you think of what just happened?
And then the biggest shock of the entire movie in the credits, produced by Brett Ratner.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Hugh Glass will return in Avengers Endgame.
Yeah. Doomsday.
Doomsday. Yeah. That was, Will said that. I was like, fucking dying.
So it's kind of like, also, so something you mentioned a little bit earlier, Ryan, is about like the propulsive nature of this movie.
Yeah.
It's the same and the exact opposite of Dances with Wolves. It's all shot outside. It's to do with sort of like native and understanding and stuff like that, and white people sucking and everything else. But this one is like the entire opening scene with the fur trappers has more violence than all of Dances with
I mean, The
Yeah.
Revenant is more of like a main mission, and Dances with Wolves is like the fun little side quests you get to do. Like, oh, I got to go collect these pelts or do this. Both of these made me want to go play Red Dead Redemption 2.
I'm playing Red Dead Redemption 1 right now.
Right, yeah,
replaying, and I'm like, and then I've watched these two movies. Like, I got to play Red Dead 2 again. That's that movie's amazing.
Got to get up to tall trees.
But like, it's yeah. I mean, it's a. I would describe it as more like an action movie with but like it has very quiet, very sort of like, but still intense moments, and then just action happens. Like something happens, natives turn up, there's a shootout, there's the French guys, there's the attack. It's like on and on. He falls off a fucking cliff, he's hiding inside a horse.
The only thing that could make this movie better, it's like, is if there was a predator.
Dude,
yeah.
And there's a scene where for a minute I thought he was turning up, where like you have that amazing shot of Tom Hardy.
I guess Prey kind of does that, yeah.
It's just like, I was like, and then the Predator shows up because this movie's about.
But it is, it's like, it just, you mainline this thing where that opening sequence, the one shot in that opening sequence where it just, when they're going to the boat and they're shooting the arrows at him, there's just a guy that wanders and just shoots a fucking horse in the head. I'm like, why?
Yeah. It's wild.
So they wouldn't get the horse, I suppose, like, or steal the horse.
It's just, just because it's just carnage and chaos,
straight up mania. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember watching this movie and going, it was amazing.
And Domhnall Gleeson in this too, towards the end, like.
Honestly, of course, so many British guys in this movie.
He's got the line of dialogue where he's like, I don't even remember what my wife's face looked like. I'm like, well, you're fucking dead. Yeah, like the classic.
Yeah.
Bye.
But I like that he uses his body as a trick
it's
to
really
get Tom Hardy.
that was something I was not expecting when I saw it the first time, where I was like, oh, there's actual like action movie shit going on, you know?
Yeah.
And
well,
I love
they
that.
set him up as like a really clever hunter, right?
Yeah.
That's his whole shtick.
But you got like I think a lot of Brits in this movie. You got Tom Hardy, Domhnall Gleeson, Will Poulter, Paul Anderson from Peaky Blinders. You know, all of these like sort of 4 or 5 of the main 7 guys are all British.
Will Poulter playing a character named Coulter?
He was Bridger. He's playing Bridger.
Oh, okay.
But then, do you know Lucas Haas rocked up as well?
I was just about to say it's a little mini Inception reunion.
Yeah.
Because like we got Lucas Haas, Tom Hardy, and Leo.
The fuck squad, as the blank check team calls it. Because Lucas Haas was also in Inception too, right?
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. And
right.
then also where he was, what was the movie that amazing, the Peter Weir movie that we watched, Witness?
Oh, Witness, yeah.
Man, I was just thinking about that movie the other day. Like, I could rewatch that movie. That was a one that really caught us.
It's so funny because both of these movies I never want to watch again.
Yeah, well, so that's kind of what I mean is that I had that feeling when I watched The Revenant in 2015. I'm glad that we did. I'm glad that we decided we were watching these 2 movies that were on my list of I've seen them.
Yeah.
Do I really need to see them again? I'm so glad I watched them again to sort of like, because I feel like I'd remembered them for the emotion they made me feel instead of watching the movie. If that makes sort of like sense. That now I'm like, okay, no, I actually know that Dances with Wolves is actually kind of like a sort of quiet, sort of uplifting kind of thing, and that The Revenant is a kind of like, full on.
Couldn't polar opposites,
yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, I'm glad I rewatched these too. I debated rewatching Revenant because I had felt like, oh, I saw it recently enough. I don't need to see it. And then realizing 2015, I was like, maybe I should rewatch it. And Dances with Wolves I hadn't seen in like 30 some odd years, so I needed to rewatch that. But yeah, no, I feel the same way. I'm glad
I do wonder though, like after watching like the extended, that whatever the extended cut was, like, because everything we talked about seems like was in the movie, so I just wonder if certain scenes were just like, I wouldn't know, like I think just certain scenes were maybe stretched out a little bit. So
interesting enough, like I'm on the wiki and it does say there's only one character that has parentheses extended version. So there's one character that Will and I didn't see. It's a guy called Captain Cargill.
Okay.
And then when it comes to the extended version, so 1 year after,
but I mean an hour, like
1 year after the original release, a 4-hour version of the film opened in select cinemas. Okay, it was the special edition, which restored, like I said, an hour's worth of scenes that had been removed.
That explains the CGI Jabba the Hutt. You know? I was wondering about that.
And West City explodes. They put a ring around him. Yeah.
So I think like it's one of the things Costner had to do is it had to be 3 hours, right? So certain things had to be cut. Now,
especially if they're editing for TV.
Yeah.
It's yeah, right. So it's basically this is a quote from producer Jim Wilson and Kevin Costner, basically, that it says the 52 additional minutes that represent this new version were difficult to cut in the first place, and the opportunity to introduce them to audiences is compelling. We've received countless letters from people worldwide asking if there's going to be a sequel, because there was a sequel book. So it seemed like a logical step to enhance the film with existing footage. Making an extended version is by no means to imply the original was unfinished or incomplete. Rather, it creates an opportunity for those who fell in love with the characters and the spectacle of the film to experience more of both. Which, at the same time, is how Mrs. and I enjoy the Lord of the Rings movies. We watch the 4-hour versions, even though we love the theatrical. So I guess it's not... It could have been in there. I think you've just got more of the experience that we did. And I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah, it didn't feel like it was paced poorly by the additional stuff. I honestly didn't even notice. I just know that it was so long enough to warrant an actual intermission interstitial slide.
Mm-hmm.
It's I honestly, like I said, for me, I'm relieved, because then when you were watching the 4-hour one, I was kind of like going to say, Ryan, just watch the 3-hour one, buddy. Because I was worried you were going to watch the 4-hour one and then not like the movie.
Oh no,
you know what I mean? And I'm just kind of happy that no, you watched the longer version and you're still like, no, it's dope.
I did. It just took me twice as long to watch it.
So look, there's no argument from us that all three of the movies, the two that we watched this time around and our champion from last time, are really good movies.
I think I had the most fun with Thunderheart, if memory serves correct.
Yeah, well, remember though, as well as that, while it being fun, that it was also like with Michael Apted, he's like comes from documentary world. Right. That it was like it had a certain level of realism to it. You know, add on to that, you've got Deakins shooting it. Mm-hmm. They all of them lean into the realism. All lean into the understanding of the natives of this area. All of them take this interesting, real approach. That it's the three of them are just a sort of like a weird, interesting, unofficial trilogy of this area of America. I really enjoyed it.
And without I mean, my gut is for Dances with Wolves, just because I think you get the most out of from a state perspective. Whereas the Revenant is not it doesn't really pull any punches. It's a really gritty, kind of awful tale in that story.
Mm-hmm. It's showing once. Well, I'll tell you this much. Okay, so yeah, like I said, for us, it's not about the best movie, because at the moment it's like, how can you pick a best movie out of these three? You should everyone should watch all three of them. Absolutely, it's what's the one that gives like maybe the best, understanding of that sort of state. Now, when we were doing Thunderheart, it takes place in, I want to say the Sioux Nation. I hope I'm not wrong about that, but it takes place on native land. Mm-hmm. And that's basically a big play on all of these things as kind of the encroachment of
it's kind of hard to do a love letter to the state with this genre of film.
That being said, The Revenant is shot entirely in Canada. And Argentina. So the production took so long that there was so much snow melt that they had to move to...
They had to make up places.
They had to go to Patagonia. So you're seeing all of these incredible sort of vistas and mountains and things like that. Whereas when we were watching...
Cliffhanger.
Quite a bit of... Yeah, right. The Dolomites, exactly. But quite a bit of South Dakota is a bit more of that sort of expansive, open, badlands.
That's where my mind went to. Yeah, exactly.
But Dances with Wolves, a significant amount of it is just being shot in South Dakota. Right. Which is why I lean Dances with Wolves as well.
But only one of these movies has South Dakota license plates, and it's The Revenant.
He's on the back of the horse. Yeah.
It's like the scene in Jaws where they pull up the trash and it's just like a license plate.
Right. Hey, Will, what's your thinking on this one?
I will say my favorite of the three, my personal favorite, is still Thunderheart, because that's the one where we even said it on the episode where that feels like a precursor to True Detective. Absolutely. And that's kind of more my jam. And I think right now I'm still leaning in that direction. I think between the two we covered this week, if I had to pick between those two, it would be Dances with Wolves. For that reason, it was shot there. But I think the reason why I'm leaning more towards Thunderheart is because it's more like people today
Mhm.
would be able to relate much more to Thunderheart than they would Dances with
It's
Wolves. There's still
yeah.
inaccuracies with Dances with Wolves, so especially if you're First Nations or you're Sioux, like you're gonna watch that and kind of be like, it's a good movie, but come
I
on,
mean, like,
guys.
I would argue, like, I'm not gonna, when I say argue, but I would say
Mhm.
for the First Nations, at least, like, when you're watching Dances with Wolves, it's not a bunch of people going woo woo and they're the bad
Yeah,
guys.
no,
It's like, no. The whole point of the movie is you guys are doing it right. You guys,
Right.
mhm.
we're really sorry that we fucked
Yeah,
it up.
yeah, they're actual humans in
Yeah.
Dances with Wolves, whereas opposed to like, yeah, most movies in the past, even as recently as Bone Tomahawk, where it's like they're basically monsters, right?
Well, those they
It's
were
like
cannibals, and also what
you
state
did
was
you
that
did
in?
get
Because I gotta write that
you did get
down.
the one Native American guy who's like wearing Western clothing, and it's like, well, that's the good one. All the others we have in this movie are actual zombies,
Right.
so uh, so like, if I have to pick between the two we covered this week, it's Dance with Wolves. All three, I'm leaning towards Thunderheart, but
Okay,
I could
no,
be
and I like that.
convinced.
I mean, like, I would say I don't think you need to be convinced. I think that
Mhm.
you make a really good point, and it's kind of what we were talking about when we did it last year as well with Thunderheart, is that it has the most sort of real
Mhm.
about sort of like the interplay between the natives and the state itself now, the conflict between the federal government and the people on their sort of the nation that
Yeah.
they were sort of like given slash forced into. But I
Mhm.
think that, like, and it's something that stuck with me since we had Adam Tinius, so since we had Ed Tenielk on the show, is the idea of the love letter in a way, or
Mhm.
like just that makes you just like the hug of it all, or
Right.
that like
Right.
that I think that
So the Revenant
dance,
then?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it's like is that Dances with Wolves has that, yes,
Yeah.
okay, it's
There's
thematic,
some whimsy to
romantic,
it, sure.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It is that like nostalgic early 90s type of filmmaking that I do kind of miss. And I'm like, man, I do miss when they made movies like this. And by that I mean specifically somebody in charge who pisses their pants and shoots himself in the head.
Right,
That I miss that
Wow.
kind of movie, man.
and Kevin Costner's ass, of course.
Oh,
Wow,
miss it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, I think a split decision. I think a split decision works.
Mhm.
But I also, because like I said, this is one of those great weeks that I love doing, where it's just home run, home run, home run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, like for anyone that's been on the fence of like, should I really watch these movies? Yes. It's
Mhm.
like we all have pretty much seen them before, or like it's still wow.
I feel like everyone's of a certain age has seen, well, except for me, has seen Dances with Wolves and surely The Revenant, but I feel like no one's really ever, like, Thunderheart's just never been in the conversation. Like,
Well, it
I
was
think we
kind
even
of
said on that episode, like, that's such a movie that would have been on cable all the fucking time, and I would have
Right.
watched it every single day, but it eluded me until we did that episode.
yeah. It's I remember like it was like you both of you were
700
like
years ago.
you were
Yeah.
like never heard of it, and I was like, oh yeah, Val
Ah,
Kilmer movie. Like I remember, it's one of Mrs. really enjoys that movie.
that's like such a me movie. I fucking love that movie.
It's
Yeah.
been yeah. I
And it
honestly
just
now
got a 4K release,
Oh
so
shit.
I'm definitely picking that up soon.
so yeah. So you know what we're gonna
Thunderheart
do?
does sound like a problematic wrestler name from the 90s too.
Yes. Yeah. It would have been definitely played by an Italian guy.
So no, we're gonna do a split decision. Which is like, Will is, I get Will's point, and I definitely agree with it about Thunderheart. But Ryan and I think we're gonna hand over a new crown here for South
Mhm.
Dakota to Dances with Wolves.
This is gonna fuck the shirt up.
It's a classic. Well, as soon as we had
We'll just take out
Nebraska.
Nebraska. Yeah.
Is Dance with Wolves, a really, really fantastic Oscar-winning movie from 1990, starring and directed by Kevin Costner. We definitely recommend you check it out. Even Ryan says you might want to watch the 4-hour version.
No.
So give that one a go. Now, before we jump over to where we're going to be going next time around, as well as it's what are some of the other movies that we were sort of circling when it came to South Dakota? Because what I liked is that we got so quickly to let's do Dances with Wolves, let's do The Revenant, and it was like we were like done. We've made the right decision on this time around. So what other movies could we have gone?
That's a good. Let me look up.
I
What's it?
had
West
one.
Dakota. Let's see.
I had one pulled up, and you guys are never going to believe the title of this movie.
God.
It's called Nebraska.
With Nick Nolte.
I swear to God, I'm trying to find the date of it.
There's Dustin Hoffman's Little Big Man. I mean, honestly, interesting enough, right? There are a lot of native sort of leading movies when it comes to South Dakota, which is like quite interesting. Like I said, we did like, I mean, there's Deadwood the movie. Ooh, that'd be interesting. I've never watched any of Deadwood. I hear it's amazing.
But why not just start by just not watching the show and watching the movie? Son-in-Law. It's a shame we already did it. I don't know why Team America World Police falls under this list.
I know. I just saw that.
Well, isn't Mount Rushmore in South Dakota? Correct me if I'm wrong, because that's the headquarters of Team America.
Oh, that's right.
That's why it's technically there.
Mercury Rising, sure, yeah.
It tries to say like, National Treasure 2. Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee, but that was like we said, we didn't do that because it was a TV movie.
Yeah. Public Enemies. I mean, I'm sure there's a part in North Dakota.
Yeah, same thing with North by Northwest. Like it ends there. So I mean, that's kind of
there's a few Calamity Jane sort of like stories.
That one scene in Richie Rich where it ends at their monument, which kind of looks like the national monument thing.
Yeah, I mean, so that's kind of the thing is there's a lot of movies where it's like a part of it takes place in South Dakota,
right?
And that's kind of like where we run into.
Didn't we run into that with North Dakota with Close Encounters?
I think so.
Devil's
Devil's Tower. That wasn't North Dakota, was it? Can't remember. But we got there's Wild Bill, Jeff Bridges, Ellen Barkin movie from '95. Never heard of that. Diane Lane, John Hurt, Jeff Bridges, Ellen Barkin, Bill Hickok again, Calamity Jane movie. Angelica Houston, Melanie Griffiths, Buffalo Girls, also 1995. Wow, there was a bit more like
we
westerns.
I got a funny story about Buffalo Girls, which is where I met my best friend while working at the video store, and the way I met him is he came in after we were closed. He was friends with my buddy Eddie. I had never met him before. He had a bow and arrow, and from the entryway to the store, he fired the bow and arrow off, and the arrow landed and hit Buffalo Girls on VHS. So
you had to watch it,
and then we had to watch it, and now we've been best friends ever since. What
a great way! You should got to
on.
do all your TikTok movie picks that way. Just fire a bow and arrow onto your collection.
I'll just fly Michael out here. Just be like, hey, fly out and shoot my collection and see what I watch next.
So yeah, look, there's a lot of native leading movies. Dustin Hoffman's Little Big Man. Dustin Hoffman, Faye Dunaway, tells the story of being raised by Native Americans and fighting with General Custer. You were asking about Custer's Last Stand.
There we go.
Some really interesting '60s ones, Native American ones that look like a little bit of brown face when you really look into this one, which is like so many Calamity Jane movies. Oh, this is one. Oh no, that's again North by Northwest. We've been looking for a reason to watch it because it has Mount Rushmore again. Honestly, I think
there was a National Treasure Book of Secrets.
Yes, exactly. Right. But we've got Calamity Jane with Doris Day. We've got The Texan Meets Calamity Jane with Evelyn Ankers and James Ellison. We've got Bob Hope, James Russell, Paleface. So honestly, when we come back around, we've done by far the best. We are going to have to jump into the 30s, the 50s, the 60s, 1936's Custer's Last Stand. It's going to be an interesting time when we get back around on this one, man.
I'm really hoping Avengers Doomsday takes place in
is it North Dakota. Is it Custer or Custard? Because I think you were saying custard earlier.
It's Custer. It's
Did I say custard earlier? I'm hungry.
I was thinking about it. I was like, that sounds delicious. Yeah.
So we'll see next time around. There's some interesting movies for South Dakota, but I genuinely think that we have maybe picked the best three. And we've talked about them this week.
We got to start retiring states or mentioning
or filmmakers in those states
or leaving out states entirely.
We would never.
No. Next time around, which is going to be 2 weeks from now, we're going to be taking a break because Will is going to his spiritual homeland of Japan. He's got some more body pillows to purchase.
The tariffs are killing me.
It's cheaper to fly there and buy it yourself.
I think those warranties would cover the damage.
But when we get back, we're going to be going back to the state of New Jersey. which is gonna be quite fun. Where I believe our champion from last time around, when we had Nick Calderon on the show, was Clerks, which I mean we kind of had to see that one coming. Though this time around, Ryan has picked a movie that was so weird you bring it up because it was being pushed to me on Amazon Prime over the holidays because I think it might be a
Yeah, 'cause I wanted it was gonna be my Christmas pick, but it just also happens to be take place in Jersey, even though I'm sure it's filmed entirely in Canada.
It's such a random choice, but
It's
we'll
like
go for it.
let me try and guess the date on it
Go
is
for it.
2015,
Dude,
No,
mate,
no,
way off.
2008, 2008.
nope.
2005, man.
Wow.
This is
That
Ryan
was
Reynolds 20 years
Ryan
ago.
Reynolds.
This
Wow,
is 20 years ago, Ryan
crazy.
Reynolds. Good Lord. Yes, Just Friends, some movie rom-com with Ryan Reynolds and Amy Smart by the looks of it, where when
Anna
they were friends when
Faris.
they're younger, that
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds used to be bigger and now he's not. That's the plot. But apparently people seem
Totally,
to like it.
totally normal, non-problematic movie, and it's got oh my God, her name from Airplane. She plays his mom, and she's fantastic.
Surely you can't be serious.
Julie Haggerty.
Yes, yeah. Oh man.
Yeah.
Click the wrong read there. Quick sniffing glue. So we're going to be doing Just Friends. But also, Will, you have been talking that you might be bringing a special guest to the show. So tell us about that special guest and the movie that you guys have decided to choose.
Oh God, yeah, I forgot we talked about this.
So we're gonna have on Denard Dale, who's a hilarious writer. I am halfway through his book, How to Dodge a Cannonball, which is a Civil War comedy. And as somebody who's like a Civil War buff, I am dying because there's so much shade being thrown at like Confederate like icons. I can't get enough of it.
I love that.
So it's fantastic book so far. I'm gonna try to finish it on the plane. But yeah, I'm excited to have Denard on. And we were chatting back and forth, and I think he mentioned it first. So I'll throw him under the bus for this choice.
You did talk about bringing up one of these even before
I might
we had
I
him
might
on.
have mentioned it before. All right, fine.
Been saying it for years.
So we're gonna do Friday the 13th for the final chapter. It
The
was
new batch.
So wait, the final chapter, is that one what it's called? Because I was trying to find it.
Yes, it's Friday the 13th, part 4, the final chapter, the biggest lie in movie history.
Yeah, I was about to say, wasn't there 10 more of this?
There was one more the next year. But this is the one that has Crispin Glover in it.
Oh no.
Oh, my boy Crispy.
Yeah, and it's there are two movies. I want to preface it. All the movies on this franchise are bad. I own all of them on Blu-ray. I've seen them all multiple times. They all suck. But this one is the one when you picture a Friday the 13th movie in your head, you're imagining this movie.
Okay.
So
I've only ever seen the first one. I only ever saw that one 25 years ago. So this is me going in. I can't wait. I'm actually quite interested. You know, you guys have got
gonna be
me
a fun
into the horror
watch,
thing,
yeah.
but this one, like Friday the 13th. Okay. So on our non-sponsor sponsor, who will one day be our sponsor, Just Watch, we're checking this out. If you want to watch Just Friends, it is available for rent. Pretty much everywhere. Though I would also say check out YouTube. You never know, might be able to find it for free. We found many. There's always some guy from Czechoslovakia that's playing them,
Yeah.
which isn't even a country anymore. But yeah, you can find it on Prime. You can find it on Apple. And then same thing for Friday the 13th. Not available for streaming anywhere. Is available for rent unless you want. No, not Crunchyroll. So yeah, we're just gonna have to look for it. Or rent it. I'm sure Will's non-sponsor Videodrome.
What does that box set look like? Is it like a giant machete?
Yeah, actually, I'm interested.
It's a little buried right now under some things, but it's just it's
it'll
a really
come back to
cool,
life.
Yeah, it's a cool box set of all of them. But it is frustrating that there are 12 movies in the Friday the 13th series. That's a little frustrating.
That is frustrating.
Oh.
Man. The symmetry.
Yeah, but don't worry, they all suck. So.
Not including, didn't they make more modern? Or that's Texas Chainsaw, huh? They haven't made like a.
They've made 87 Texas Chainsaw movies in the last 5 years. None of them are good.
I
know they're
went to
doing
space. He fought Freddy, didn't he?
That was the 10th. Jason X.
Jason X
is
is
the 10th
space.
one. They made 2 more after that, which is outrageous.
Well,
I know.
talk about flogging a dead
starring
man.
David Cronenberg.
Yeah, David Cronenberg just shows up in Jason X because he was. This is true. He was just in the neighborhood, and they're like, "Do you want to be in it?" And he's like, "Yeah." Sure.
Not doing anything today?
No.
Fuck it.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so guys, in 2 weeks' time, we will be returning as we head to New Jersey with our special guest, as we will be putting Just Friends and Friday the 13th for the final chapter that wasn't really the final chapter up against Clerks, a defining movie for New Jersey. So we will see what happens with that one. Outside of that, if you're watching us on YouTube and you haven't, do us a favor and subscribe. If you're listening to us, do us a favor and rate or comment or tell a friend who's a movie fan, get them on board, and we can start expanding their movie experiences outside of every movie except for 1989's Twister. Don't forget, you can find Ryan's designs, his movie designs, movie posters, and redesigned movies that don't even exist as Rhino Digital, RYNO Digital. He also has some pretty cool Formula One stuff as well that every now and again gets pulled down because it got air and center on it. You can find more from Will as entitled Willennial on Instagram, and TikTok. Like I said, the guy has massive movie knowledge and one of the biggest movie collections of anyone I've ever seen. He loves to talk about old movies and teach you things about movies you've maybe never heard. You can find me as Ollie Pettigrew on Facebook or as that Englishman in Texas everywhere else, where usually I'm talking about all things Texas, skits, history, fun, travel, and everything else in between. But don't forget, you can also find us on our Instagram, United States of a Movie, or on our Facebook page, where we're always keen for interaction, suggestions, or criticisms, or people that just want to expand our search engine optimization, mostly.
Yes.
So, guys, great week. Thank you for this one. Looking forward to next week. But I'm just going to sit here and bask on this little throne of actual movie podcast for just a few more hours, because we did it, guys. We got rid of the nasty taste in my mouth from Twister, and I love movies. I love movies.
It only took 6.5 hours.
Yeah, that's all it took. So thanks for listening to this episode. We'll see you next time from Ryan, from me, and from Will. Thanks for checking out this episode of the United States of a Movie podcast. We will see you next time.